of you know a Muslim with the name Musa? Musa means Moses. Moses is a great prophet. We love Moses.
And we say, in fact, that of the two Abrahamic religions that are probably most close to one another in terms of theology, especially as it relates to God, Islam and Judaism are very, very close. We believe in Moses. We believe in David. We believe in Solomon. We believe in all of those prophets. We believe in all of them. And we respect them and we love them. And in fact, we cannot even be Muslims without them. And so therefore, there shouldn't be this kind of friction.
In the year 637, Caliph Omar ibn al-Khattab, a companion of the Prophet Muhammad, entered Jerusalem not with a sword of conquest, but with an olive branch of peace. The city, sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims, lay before him, its Jewish population long since banished by the Byzantines. Aware of the city's deep Jewish roots, Omar sought out its missing sons and daughters. Upon learning no Jews remained, Omar extended an invitation for them to return, a move that reversed centuries of exclusion. He issued a landmark assurance, the Covenant of Omar, guaranteeing safety and religious freedom to all of Jerusalem's people. Jews once again prayed at the Western Wall, Christians held Mass at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and Muslims were called to prayer at the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Caliph Omar's actions echoed the core Islamic principle of there is no compulsion in religion, setting a precedent for coexistence in a land revered by many.
Historical to suggest that when the Muslims are in charge, that they demonize and ostracize and alienate and are unjust towards Jewish people. That we will never accept. Bernard Lewis, who is an Orientalist against the Muslims, really. He's an Orientalist. He even admits that the kind of catastrophes that we saw in Europe from the pogroms and the Holocaust and the Spanish Inquisition in 1492, there is no equivalent of that in the Muslim world. There is no equivalent in that. You know why? Because the Muslims did have respect.
Let's take a look at the clip and come back.
Sure. Of course, that Muhammad, the founder of Islam, himself beheaded, massacred many, many Jews. Famously, there's one battle in particular, and the Banu Quraysh. It's a story you can find in the Quran and the Hadith.
So he didn't even get the names right. In fact, this is a serious error. And this shows you the incompetence, the negligence, the foolishness of this particular individual.
Of course, this is because the Jews would not accept the revelation of Muhammad, such as it was. And so they were seen within Islamic tradition as being one of the first people who turned down the opportunity to join Islam.
And that particular tribe, and there was many of those tribes, and we don't need to speak about Banu Qaynuqa or Banu Nadir for now. There's other tribes, the Jewish tribes that existed with the Prophet. As you know, they had a pact with the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. There was a kind of constitution that protected their rights and allowed them not just to practice their religion as Jews, but to have a parallel legal system where they can rule on their own religion. That was the freedom that they were afforded. And this was 5 years into the Medinan period where the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had the polity. And in fact, what really took place was that the males in that tribe, they were combatants, the male combatants, because women didn't as much in the medieval period engage in fighting. They conspired with the pagan Arabs at the time. They conspired with them in a particular battle which actually resembles what's happening in Gaza, which we'll talk about in a second, called the Battle of Al-Ahzab, or the Confederates, which is mentioned in chapter 33 of the Quran, and is mentioned in the Seerah as well. And because of this conspiracy to kill the Muslim people, the male combatants, or the males among the particular Banu Qurayza tribe, were decapitated not by the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, but in fact by Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, who they accepted as an arbitrator.
لهمش أكتر من حقنا. إحنا ما بنكره اليهود وبنقاتل اليهود لأنهم يهود. اليهود أهل دين وإحنا أهل دين. إحنا بنحب كل أهل الأديان. أخويا هذا اللي من أمي وأبويا اللي دينه مسلم إذا أخذ بيتي وقربني منه أنا بقاتل أخويا، بقاتل ابن عمي إذا أخذ أرضي وبيتي وقربني. فلما اليهودي يأخذ أرضي وبيتي وقربني منها كمان أنا مستعد أقاتل. أنا ما بقاتل أمريكا ولا بريطانيا ولا دول أخرى. أنا كل الناس معهم بالسلام، بحب كل الناس وبحب الخير لكل الناس. كمان بحب الخير لليهود، واليهود عاشوا معنا طول حياتهم، عمرنا ما اعتدينا عليهم وعمرنا ما أسأنا لهم يعني وصلوا إلى مراتب عليا من الوزارات والحكم والأغنى. مين اللي بيعتدي عليهم؟ لكن هم لما ياخذوا أرضي وبطني وبيتي وتشردوني منه. أنا عندي 4 مليون فلسطيني مشرد في الخارج. مين أحق تروح لوطنه اللي جاي من روسيا اللي له 2000 سنة مبعد عنها ولا اللي له 40 سنة طالع منها؟ مين أحق أن يعود له؟ إحنا ما بنكره اليهود لكن بنقول لليهود أعطونا حقنا.
Gaza, Hamas knew. You think Hamas didn't know I was Jewish? Of course they did. In fact, they gave me extra protection because I'm Jewish, because they knew people who might not quite understand. One time in Gaza, I went with a friend to the rubble of this neighborhood east of Gaza called Shujaiya, which now is getting hit so hard in this current war on Gaza. And it did in 2014 too. You know, I'm just talking to these salt of the earth people. It's an amazing experience. They're just so real. I asked my friend, I'm like, do you think we should tell them I'm Jewish? He was like, okay. He's like, oh, I have Jewish friends, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's going off. A couple days later, I actually got called into Hamas's security office. And they were like, you cannot tell people that. Do not do that, because you're going to get yourself in a bad situation, because you never know how people are going to react. So Hamas protected me as a Jew.